CNBC TV 18 presents the AI Dialogues in association with IBM.
I want from all of you, what is the aha moment of AI? You gave me one by saying that you can talk to your statement. I want from each of you one such aha moment that you are expecting. That is one set of questions I will ask you all. And the other one would be challenges. Okay, and you already, all of you have touched on them. Those would be my next two rounds of questions. But before I come to that, I want this one doubt cleared, which all of you have raised in my head. Biases. You know, if you are going to learn from public, if AI is going to draw from public databases, there would be biases. Certain kinds of people may not be given. For instance, there will be fewer loans given to women than men. There would be fewer loans given to certain districts in India because they've only now become rich. Hitherto they were not banked. So how do you, would there not be these biases, Balaji?
Yeah, that's the reason why when we are, both Ramesh and Rishi explained it very well. Before that, each of the organizations should have the governance set right for AI. Before behaving like a child in a toy shop, we have to. It has to be the governance have to be put in place. We have to be very clear on how we are going to do that. What is the implication? There are lots of risks. You asked about challenges also.
Yeah.
Sometimes there are lots.
We will come to that.
Yeah, no, I'm saying that.
I'm just saying, how do you correct these biases?
Yeah.
I get very scared that when generative happens.
I'll probably chime in here. There is corrective techniques that are used. There's bias correction, and that's why when you get it into internal,
your own
environment, you will really fine tune. There's feature engineering that happens to remove these biases, and that's why it's extremely critical that you don't use a public AI model. Okay.
Public, that is the point I was saying. So it has to that governance have to be put in place. Once we have the governance put in place, then some of it would be, if you put the challenges correctly, then you can put the mitigation correctly. I mean, that is the
Wanted to add to it?
Yeah, so I think just to add to what Balaji and Ramesh have said, is that banks have a lot of data, lots and lots of data. Now, and a lot of data is available thanks to UPI and all these digital transactions happening. Today, to your point on decisioning and the bias,
ultimately, a human being has to make the decision.
Correct. So, and the way you manage it, because today if you look at a digital public infrastructure and take the data from there and you start creating certain models associated with, that's what we do today. The moment you overlay it with a lot of these, it doesn't necessarily give you the right view. It may not give, and that's when the bias will end up becoming a non-compliance to an expectation that will come in. So to me, I think what's going to happen is, it is going to be a learning curve not just for the institutions but also for regulators, because what will happen soon, Natab, is one is going to start understanding how do you put the right governance layer, not just restrict the data, but how do you use the data more better qualitatively, and then make sure that that is made available to dissuade these biases coming in. So that is a story that will unfold, because today the adoption is happening. There's a lot of use cases in the market, but for a financial institution as a part of its own processes, for its own data versus other data, how they really put the governance and how regulator is going to see it. I wouldn't be surprised in the next 18-24 months we get some kind of directions, I would say, or a policy statement which essentially say, you know what, this is how you should implement. Because this is a learning, the amount of data that today is getting collected.
Sometimes you may not even be aware of the bias.
Yes, today they collect a lot of data. So they are also doing a lot of mining. You're going to see this coming up, and that's where if an India-centric language model comes up, it's going to happen. I'm not seeing it far away. And the moment that happens, your ability to create non-biased decisions is going to emerge stronger. And that is going to be the...
Rishi, as an outsider, I mean, again, I shouldn't call you an outsider. I guess you're more into financial services than every individual. But do you all work this into the products you sell?
Yes.
This how much is responsible AI a part of your thinking?
Okay. So, we all spoke about data a lot. We also spoke about, how do we control the data, right? Let me talk about, these biases, right? We spoke a lot of people, right? All the execs who we kind of talked to, and almost, half of them, 50% of who we have spoken to, right? There is a predicament to not use AI because of these biases. For example, explainability, right? Explainability is what? How do you explain the outcome which your model is actually generating? Yeah. How do you explain that, right? Ethics. Again, people kind of challenge, right? How ethical this outcome is. Does it use data which is my data? Whose data is it kind of using? Bias. Is the outcome, just based on an existing bias which was there? And trust. Do we really trust the outcomes which are being delivered? So, if I talk about these 4 areas of concern, in IBM we run an imperative. We have Watson X, which is our own Gen AI platform, right? So if I talk about these 4 concerns, how do we solve for it, right? IBM, we work with AI alliances across some 57 organizations, companies, universities, for use of responsible AI, right? And we call it internally, when we are building our platforms, we call it the pillars of trust, and our platform is based on these pillars of trust. What is that? For example, when I say robustness, right? The platform should be robust. There cannot be any kind of intentional or unintentional interferences, right? It has to be fair. I'm just giving you a few examples of these principles of trust which we use, right? It has to be fair. And how can it be fair? The size of data and the disparity of data which we will use to feed into our platform. Ethical AI, responsible AI, most important, right? So you publish the way we publish the way we build, we deploy platforms. We also publish if there are any kind of limitations in the platform. So be extremely transparent, right? So we work on these so
someone who uses like
right. So we work on these principles of trust in building our platform. But despite all of these challenges, a lot of us spoke about data privacy, personal information, biases, but despite all of that, we believe that there is a blueprint which is now emerging. For successful use of AI, right? Okay. And this blueprint has 4 elements, and I will just end with that. See, what are these 4 elements? One is data. We spoke a lot about data. Our customers they have to be confident if they are using our models, if they use our platform, right? The ownership of IP is with IBM. There is no, so control the data which is moving into the platform. So one is data. I spoke about ethical/responsible AI. Again, publish, right? What you are deploying. Publish, design, build, deploy of your models, right? Yes. So our clients are pretty clear in terms of what are they really getting out of it. Then I talk about this cross-culture bit in organizations. Yes, there are organizations which are deploying AI, one use case, or 2 use cases, but how do you scale this, right? This cross collaboration between organization. And finally, it is about agility. And what I mean by agility is, the technology changes will keep happening, the regulations will keep getting more stringent, right? So your AI engine or your AI platform or Gen AI platform needs to continuously respond to these regulatory changes and technology changes in an agile manner, right? That's the principles which we follow.
On which you build your programs. Fair point. And let me come to the most simple question, and at least the more attractive one, which I started with. This aha moment. I'm really impressed that one day I can talk to my bank statement. What do you think, Mahesh, can be the next time when a customer says, oh, wow.
So if I were to look at, I'll have a couple of aha moments,
Sure.
not one. So one,
You can give me more.
I can, but it's a long list that we're
Yes.
looking. But look at it when you believe that you are at a point where the bank is suddenly reaching out to you in a very personalized way of an ask that you have wished for.
Oh.
Now that's, I'm just simplifying it. Obviously that means there is a lot of cross data that of what you've done, what you've spoken, what you've interacted with across, and the bank is able to synthesize that information, curate it,
A telepathic moment.
and bring it to you to say, you know what, basis of what you've done, basis of what you've accessed, basis talking to the statement versus this, you now are suddenly saying, you know what, let's take a case. I'm saying that I'm sure you have your son's marriage up here, looking for a loan. Now let me give you at an interest rate of XYZ. If you want it, you don't need to do anything, just say yes, we will take care, and by the way, we will also have an event manager on all these ready for you. So now look at a customer who says, you know what, how come this guy, while he may be this thing, may say, I have my bank looking at what I'm trying to do and what I need. So that will be a great use case. I'm saying today a bank is not just financials, but how does it envelop your entire expectations, lifestyle. I think that's going to be one stuff there. Internally, like I talked about, two big use cases is how do I create efficiencies? Because scale is going to be big. And at scale, when you try to do fraud detection, our great use cases, all of us with UPI driving huge this thing. Now we have standard AI models, but being able to infuse it with far more intellectual capabilities and being able to give that control better to the risk managers and being it far more intuitive is going to be a big shift. Like for example, if you are able to also manage your own risk for the bank, it's going to be even great. But at the same time, if you guy is sitting out there in the fraud management unit, today he's only dependent on some alerts throwing at him. But if he's going to be much more intuitive for him, basis all this intelligence that is done, I think it is out of the world. The bank will reduce its risk profile in a significant way, and hence it's good for the ecosystem. And then that's a couple of things that I really think about.
I really wish that happens, because in the last few months, at least I am coming across a lot of individuals who come and tell me, you know what, this much got deducted from my account. Since you are the banking reporter, you know bankers, can you put me through to the right person?
But
actually, the number of such people,
see, I'll tell you what is happening.
Actually increasing.
Yeah,
so
because
it would be very great if,
See, it has to happen, because the digital, I would say, explosion is not getting mirrored with the way we manage risk associated with it. I think that cannot be managed with what we do, what we have traditionally done or evolving. It has to have a much more leapfrog there.
Yes. And
how it becomes inline to your entire process. It's there, but the way you need to look at it and the way you need to interpret it is very different. I think these are big things. But if you can what every organization is going through is, I'll give you another big use case that we were talking about. How does banks collaborate with an insurance agency? I'll give you a simple use case. Now, if you are, interesting one, but if you are constantly ordering from Swiggy, say a pizza or something, and you're also having an health insurance there. Now, you know the quality of food versus this. If you are able to triage it and give you a better way, this is not Gen AI, but general AI.
You're eating too much junk food.
But you see and depending on your age, and you are at this thing, and your health, and if there is health data available, now you triage these, or you have a complete 4 or 5 pointers that are come to you, and you present to you, listen, I think you are somewhere not in the right space.
So when you're paying for it, you get a pop-up saying
And
that,
now, or
are
I'll
you
give
eating the rice?
No, I'll give you a discount if you don't do this.
Okay.
On your premium, right? Look at that. It is going to change. Today, a lot of this is offline. But if you make it online and you say that, I'll give you 15% discount.
SEBI is using it, by the way.
Yeah,
when you do an options trade, it pops up saying that, do you know that 95% is ending in losses? So it is
going to
used
be.
some extent
I'm saying
by
that
the
is where
regulator.
data is going to be, and the amount of AI that you put on top.
But these
and the way
killjoys will come up to tell you. No, but the aha moment. He gave me one aha moment. You tell me, where do you think it will come?
No. Mahesh covered it beautifully, and he also talked about the talking statement and all. I would say in 2-3 areas where really aha moment, in addition to what he was talking about. One, how do you increase the transparency to the customer? I'm just talking about how do we increase even within banks have huge data of the customers, and the bank system also it's pretty huge even to get within what is available for a given customer. But you are a corporate customer, you are a CFO in a corporate, you are also a private this one. I mean, how do we know a customer? How do we give all transparency to a customer in a full scale? That is one area definitely GenAI can work on reading our own data and coming in. And the number 2, this one, it's about our own internal customer-facing people. If you really see all the banks, if I take this one, 20% of the people don't require any support. I mean, they are too good in any organization. The majority is the belly part of it, which is around 70-80% of the people. Either they are pretty new. Every bank has around 40%, 50%.
I know it's high turnover.
High turnover. This one, new people joining, they will take months to settle. All settlement banking is a very large kind of thing, kind of servicing. So for them to know everything, so how can we help those people to settle faster? How can we enable them not to tell something wrong to the customer? They are not saying intentionally. They are not doing anything intentionally.
So
maybe
co-pilots.
How do you make them better? Then you are making actually the 60-70% of the people also on par with 20%, because who do not require any tool for them to. So again, GenAI is like a knife you can use to cut vegetables and you can threaten people.
Kill a person. That is true. No, actually, you brought it very nicely to my next issue. Instead of problems, let me look at the work culture. Okay, I put it in a different kind of way. Will you have less people, Ramesh?
No, I don't think.
Because that is the big fear, that AI will mean fewer people.
So, there's a question that's asked often. In fact, I'm just giving a little perspective because my daughter was writing an essay on this. Okay, and when we were kind of looking at that essay, one of the things that came out. Look, historically, humankind, whether it's from the start of the wheels to basically industrial revolution to the internet revolution.
Yes.
The first, aspect has been, will this cut jobs? We've gone through this cycle.
Yes.
It's not the first time that we're going through this cycle. So fundamentally, if you ask me, it's the same cycle that's going to come. So to that extent, I don't think this will kind of result. Maybe in short term, yes, you might, because there would be some questions around efficiency, questions around agility, which could be solved very quickly. So the human mind has to quickly adapt to that because everybody is in race to kind of get there. But when you normalize it over a larger period of time, I think what will happen is it also means the shift in the skills. And that's a very, very, and like I said, I think that and this is a great opportunity. I personally think that GenAI also brings or removes language bias. Okay, and I think for a country like India, it's an amazingly open opportunity because a lot of our people do not necessarily think in English. Okay, which has been a logical language for a lot of our technical skills for till now actually.
AI will remove that bias?
will big time remove the bias.
Yes.
Because you are kind of, you can talk to anything in any language, right? That is the beauty of this. In fact, that's also the other question that the second aha moment that I see is, is the banking industry going, I wouldn't say vernacular, that's the right word, but regionalization. Because our penetration is limited today simply because at best we think Hindi or English.
And language.
Yeah. So the same thing if you apply, I think people across the country would adopt faster, like he said, they will learn faster, and the skills will,
So you're saying that because of AI, certain jobs may not be needed, but you can reskill them very quickly. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely, reskill them, and the AI itself will aid in the reskilling.
Okay.
So it's kind of a counter, right?
Oh,
it's
that's extremely consoling for me.
Yeah.
That you will not.
I mean, you look at your profession, Ginlata. I mean, why wouldn't you do if you can get your write-up done by the AI, but you can actually then use your experience, your skills to make it sharper. Right, you don't want to
don't do the donkey work.
Yeah, look at design.
The hard work.
Yeah, forget the banking industry. We gave the
the mundane work.
Banking industry. We gave the use case. Let's look at the use case, for example, with multimodal models now. I mean, you would have seen Sora being launched a couple of days back, and many other Gemini was another multimodal. Look at how designers can think. I don't know if you saw some of the tweets that went around on Sora launch. I mean, somebody said, you can just tell me how a dolphin race will happen on the floor of a sea, right? And it created that kind of an image. Imagine this kind of stuff in the hands of designers, creative people, and in any language that you can do. So I think it's a matter. While it's a matter of concern in the short run, but I do think that it opens. Yeah,
jobs.
Absolutely. It's the next level of evolution.
That is how I tend to console myself. When I joined journalism, we did not have Excel. I used to physically enter the prices of commodities, share prices, and then look for patterns over the month, over the year, over the registers. And then when Excel came, did we lose jobs? No,
exactly.
We could create more stories.
Exactly, that's
I agree. But does it work that, Balaji?
I don't know. Every time the leap in technology happens, there is a buzz around
job losses.
Job losses. It has never happened so far, and it's not going to happen in future also. Only because, like what he said, maybe some types of job may be slowly getting extinct, but there are different types of jobs which will come in. So it's about that particular thing. And number two, majority of the use cases people are talking about, how do you make it more, better outcome, better transparency, better version of what it is, rather than not at all. That could be one of this one, but I tend to agree with him. I mean, it is going to.
That you will actually reskill.
Reskill and lots
reskill
of people.
And upskill also.
Upskill and lots of people who think different languages are actually very good. But they have
Maybe
a language
you will need
barrier.
more UX UI guys
who need a language barrier to be broken. Those people will come into the picture. I mean,
who would otherwise never have thought of finance as
exactly.
an area will come. Okay, on a similar vein, do you think you won't need so many branches? Will branches go out of fashion because all data is coming?
So I don't think branches will go out of fashion. I think branches will become much more cohesive in terms of what they can do. Today, it has already moved from being a servicing, just a servicing outlet to a sales outlet. Right? Tomorrow it can become a marketplace. I would see it becoming a marketplace for any institution.
Okay.
When I say marketplace, doesn't mean just you sell banking products. You are able to infuse a lot more other products to be able to cross sell, to be able to present you a much more better way of looking at things.
You will still be opening branches.
Then the space will come down, the pace at which.
Okay.
For example, you may open the way we are all rushing into say tier 4 cities, create smaller outfits, not large outfits. I would say the DBUs is a classic case. If you see DBUs, right? DBUs is a beautiful example of how you proliferate technology in a regional model with the use of, say, AI-infused capabilities to enable reach into those respective areas. Go up to a hilly region, where you have a branch, you'll suddenly find a nice little hoarding there, get into it, it's a room and about say 300 square feet. But if you play it out in the regional language, it is a voice-based capability rather than a text-based capability. You can do what you like and you are able to do
You will still
everything.
want a human being to man it.
Yeah, you will have one or two. You may not have
You may
five.
not have like
You not have five, don't need
And
five.
look, the thing with the branches, what it also does, the capability of the branches, like you said, is going to substantially go up. It's also, in that sense, the branch is also in some form insurance for the
customer.
For the customer. So the
That
nature.
he has a human figure.
Yeah, I think that's where I think we are going. We're kind of sitting with the customers. I think this branch thing versus digital, I think it's little overdone. If you ask me, in your own mind, if you see a board next door, you feel a little comfortable. Yeah, there is a physical entity. That's it. I mean, you still would not walk into
You
the
would
branch.
not have gone to a bank.
But
branch
Lata,
today.
look at this one thing. A lot of the banks which were digital only banks have not succeeded.
Exactly.
Technically, they were advanced. Why they didn't succeed?
Probably we needed the human.
Because
hand.
one couldn't see it beyond being digital.
Even
I'm saying is, I see one of them. It's my interpretation of it, that it presented everything and anything you required, but something going wrong. There was always this fear that I don't know where this organization existed in the first place.
Okay.
So to me, I think the morphing will happen. The use of technology will enable it to do very differently, and the regionalization to what Ramesh said is going to be huge, and that will change the game of inclusion.
Another factor is there are lots of areas in India where the banking is actually not there.
Not
actually,
there.
that expands.
So we are not yet in the stage to ask about will branches
And-
disappear
yeah,
because we have not even reached.
Yeah, and imagine what, like you said, what AI can do out there.
Yeah.
Like you said, regionalization, simplification, things like security training for customers, right? It's a simple thing, right? I mean, we could do that in the branches.
Huge.
Trade transactions. Sometimes it's complicated. You don't understand that person
Hand
there.
holding can.
Yeah, so those kind of stuff the morphing will happen quickly. I think that's the biggest
Classic
opportunity.
case, I'll tell you, is going to be now all financial institutions, including government, is rushing to include the MSME, SME customer. That's a huge, and that's the biggest opportunity we are all chasing
60
through.
million we are
Yeah,
told.
we are all chasing through. Now, where are these? You are only covering tier 2, tier 3 max, but there are folks who do it in the tier 4.
Yes.
Now, how do you engage them? Now, here is a DBU, if you look at that whole concept, now I like the concept, what we earlier had, e-banking kiosks, right? 10 years ago, you had nice little e-banking kiosks with an ATM or passbook printer. But today, if you use this technology to be enabling them, speak in that language, hey, you want a current account, you want you want a trade transaction to be initiated. Because of this, I speak in your local language, come with your documents, upload it, scan it, upload. You are able to get help locally in your language. Your comfort, someone is speaking to you in a way that it is, upload it, and you are able to do your time. Now suddenly that someone who's probably had to travel 50 kilometers says, no, I don't need to spend, because now this branch is suddenly doing something different.
Oh.
And as long as I'm getting my work done, it's changed the game.
That's-
And that kiosk is not a substitute branch.
Yes.
If I can deliver in kiosk, I can deliver in phone.
Phone.
It is there across the country. So
Correct.
the question is, you require a physical form, like what he correctly said, the form of the branch will change.
Change.
But the requirement of a branch will not change. And
Yeah. Sorry.
No. I just.
No, I
In
wanted
fact,
to know,
on a lighter note, Lata, maybe you will have a deep fake of the branch. That's a different.
I'm coming to deepfakes, but before that, any thing you
So,
wanted to
you know,
contribute in terms
so
of the
branches
human
will-
element?
See, branches will definitely be leaner. Even if you look at that percentage of transactions happening today, right? I think the percentage of transactions happening digitally are only going up, right? But
Yes.
that doesn't mean the branches are going anywhere. Now, when you think of
if you can address the broader issue of not just branch, but how many labor loss, work loss,
I don't.
you don't
Okay,
see that.
I don't see
Both.
Okay, so
physical and number of people.
Okay, let me cover the branches and I will get
Yes.
to the jobs part of it. So I don't see the branches going anywhere. Yes, they will get leaner. Also think of a concept and think of a concept that you are in tier 3, tier 4 city, there are Kinara stores with all this technology being available, with you being able to converse in your own language with the local people. If you have two people from the bank with a small board sitting in the Kinara store, right? It can act like a very, I would say a very lean branch kind of thing, right? So I think
I get your point that there will be branches, but they will be lean branches.
Definitely.
But my specific question to you is, will it become lean banks? Will the number of people itself be?
No,
they are not saying, but I wanted to know your view.
No, I don't see that happening. What is going to happen is, people are going to do more intelligent jobs, right? The routine, mundane jobs can be left. The boring jobs can be left to the machine. Can be automated. We are truly in the AI revolution, and why I say that, right? We upskill. Ramesh spoke about, all of them spoke about, upskilling the people, right? Where are these investments going to go? When we are making investments, one is obviously tech, right? What platforms you have. Where is the other investment? What is going to make this AI bit successful? The other investments are going in upskilling your people to start using this, right? So the impact which this combination of tech and people is going to have on the business, end of the day, it's all business outcome, right? Is going to be a multiplier effect. So I see people doing more meaningful, more intelligent jobs, and some bit of jobs which are repeatable can be automated.
Yeah, just a little bit on that also is that, look, today also if you see, Lata, there are lots of gap areas. For example, take contact centers, right? I mean, whatever you do, there is pressure on the contact center. There are wait lines. You go to the branches, sometimes you have to wait, right? Selling, for example, a lot of mis-selling, cross-selling. So I see AI, whether it's Gen AI, classical AI, actually kind of aiding to remove these inefficiencies and use the skills of the people to service better. Today, the productivity is actually dragged down on things which maybe you can...
Absolutely. I think mis-selling is something which perhaps even the person is not aware, or maybe the person is aware when he's selling, but or she is selling. But that
intention cannot be removed, but at least inefficiency in that, or
exactly.
Excellently.
That should be
that's very well put. Okay, now I think we should ask. Intentions cannot be changed, but inefficiencies can be removed.
CNBC TV 18 presents the AI Dialogues in association with IBM.